Hi, I'm Alex Arona with Nintendo World Report, and I am here with
Krista Castro.
And Brian Singh.
Hi, and you guys are playing. You guys are bringing out Fear the Spotlight.
That's right. Yeah, we're Cozy Game Pals, and we're Blumhouse's first game release. Yeah.
And so you guys originally released this on PC, correct?
That's right. Yeah, we released it last October, and it was starting to get like a small following, and people were sharing it, and that's when Blumhouse found it, and they said, "Oh, we really love your project. Like, what can we do to help?" Before Blumhouse came in, we were working on this game for 2 years, just self-funded. Like, we took our savings, quit our jobs, and started making this game.
Wow.
And so when we released it, we thought we were done, and then Blumhouse saw it and like, "Oh, how do you want any help supporting this?" And we were like, "Well, it would be great to get it on consoles. It would be great to localize it to more languages." And they said, "Well, what if you had more time? What would you do?" And we said, "I don't know. Let's figure it out." And we found what to do with it. And so with our original release, it was like 2 to 3 hours, and we've added about an hour and a half. So now the release that's coming out later this year will be about 3 to 5 hours.
So you guys had to remove it from Steam and then re-add it, or going to be re-adding it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, as soon as we found out we could make like a better version of this game, we're like, okay, wait, everybody,
Yeah.
wait until we give you like the better version. Yeah.
It's super exciting. I got a chance to play it, and it's definitely got the PS1 aesthetic, a little bit like the VHS filter, but overall a deep mystery about like two young girls who play with a Ouija board and end up in this whole mystery of a school fire. How do you guys feel like in the indie space? Did you like the PS1 aesthetic for one thing?
Oh yeah, I think we have a lot of nostalgia for the horror games of the past. Silent Hill, the original 1, 2, and 3, Fatal Frame, like Resident Evil, like the past and the modern ones. Like they're all huge inspirations to us. And so the retro style is definitely, part of it is nostalgia, but part of it is it adds to the scariness, I think. Like having more simplified shapes and limited colors, like you're not quite sure what you see.
Your mind fills in the gaps in like the most horrifying way possible.
For sure.
Yeah, and I'd add that like our inspiration goes deeper than just like retro horror. Like we're inspired by like all sorts of horror movies, modern stuff. Like the game plays more like a modern game, even though it references older horror stuff. But even beyond that, we're just into indie games in general, and we're into like so many different types of horror and so many different types of emotions. Like when we were making this game, we were really thinking about how can we get more people into horror and how can we share it with them. So like that's been one of the huge inspirations. Like we're constantly thinking about what's something that our non-horror friends would still enjoy. It's something that we can point to that and say like, hey, you should be a horror fan too.
So you're like almost like trying to find the middle ground, like what, not to be too scary, but also still provide something that's a little bit more shocking, a little bit more like unnerving at least, right?
For sure, yeah. Trying to make it accessible for people to play it and to finish it and to experience the horror, yeah.
Oh, and then in the indie spaces in general, I have found that like there is a very high level of like resurgence of horror in the indie space, even just like itch.io, some of these like smaller narrative things, and they're really like exploring the space. Have you guys have you seen that yourselves?
Yeah, we've posted on itch pretty regularly actually. Before, this is our biggest project together, but we've done small game jam size games and we post them on itch, but we see the big horror community there for sure.
Yeah, and that community was like one of the big inspirations for working on a horror game. It's like we're one of those fans. Like we're playing those horror games as well as the AAA horror stuff, and we just love it. We love it, and we see that other people love it too. And it's so crazy. We had no idea Blumhouse was doing this.
Also into that.
Yeah, they had the exact same thoughts. So
they've been kind of behind. They've been part of it, like trying to build up a new horror catalog.
Sure, yeah.
So like while we were working on it, turns out they were working on it too. And so we had our solo release last year. And then Blumhouse is like, hey guys, we're doing the same thing. Like, let's figure it out. Yeah, it's just been a dream come true.
That's awesome. I mean, what are some of the indie, like people haven't heard of, like smaller horror games that you think that like you are in some of your favorites?
Oh, I feel like a classic itch one is Anatomy. That one is amazing. Anatomy. It's all in the house. It's all atmosphere. It's definitely, you can see the influences in our game from that.
Yeah, there's some horror games that are so big, but people may not know about because they think they're not into horror. Like Detention, like Madison, like those are hugely popular games that might not be on people's radar because they think they don't like horror, but they're great.
Like so it's Slay the Princess.
Oh, for sure.
And that is
yeah.
such a kind of a creepy game, and it's just narrative.
There's so much variety in horror, for sure. Yeah.
And like it does like go past your expectations, right? It's like it shoots left and right. So this is your first game that is getting out there, because you obviously been other games. Do you already have a couple of ideas in the pipe for next things, or possibly?
We're always talking about games. Brian and I just love games. We just are creators and game makers, so we're constantly talking about the games that we want to make, for sure.
Yeah, for us, like, the dream isn't just this game, is to be able to continue making games and just keep doing whatever we're interested in and just continue to be excited about whatever we're working on. So we always have a million ideas, but we have no idea what's actually coming next. Yeah.
What were some of the inspirations behind Fear the Spotlight?
I guess we said it earlier, like Silent Hill, Fatal Frame, but even things like The Haunting of Hill House is a big inspiration, like 90s horror movies, like the things that we grew up, which was like Goosebumps and Are You Afraid of the Dark, like all these things like that are horror, we definitely put in there.
I definitely like some of like the tropes you had where it's like they show the item and it's full 3D, like, and you're like, oh, why don't you inspect it? And I was inspecting every item just to see what was going on.
Yeah, like the point and click games, that's like from the Monkey Island to like Nancy Drew, like that's in there for sure.
Yeah, so many references, too many to count. Like, not even just like straight horror, but even some more, because horror has so much variety, like I think about more bombastic horror movies like The Conjuring or Malignant, and I try to make sure our game feels like a bit of a roller coaster and a bit of a ride. Even though it's like a slow, tense game, there's always something new happening and something exciting happening. Hopefully the player's thinking about what might come next, like during the whole 4 hours that they're playing the game.
Summer Game Fest, this is kind of a big deal. How did it feel being on, like they kind of announced everything and main stage stuff, all of a sudden like, oh, they're talking about Blumhouse, they're talking about, we're one of the games, we're one of the games. How did that feel?
Oh my gosh, it's literally just the two of us making this thing, like we said, like it was just a passion project in our house that we're like making at home, and we're just in disbelief. Like we can't believe that we're a part of Summer Game Fest, we're a part of Blumhouse. Yeah, it's just really beyond anything we could have ever dreamed of.
Oh yeah, and we're just fans too. Like even if we weren't participating in like Blumhouse's lineup, we would have been so hyped for Blumhouse. We love horror, we love indie games, and we want more. We want more people to play it. And like the way Blumhouse is approaching it is just so cool. Like they're just finding like all the variety there is to have in the horror game space, and like really putting a spotlight on it. Oh, gosh. But no, we're super stoked. And like for us to be the debut game is unbelievable. It really is. Like we could have never dreamed that it would play out this way.
And they gave you the full, complete freedom.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they're really creator friendly first. Like whatever we want to do, they're like, we're full of support of like whatever your vision is for your game.
Wow, that's fantastic to hear. This is like a little Cinderella story. You guys came in.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, we feel that.
That's awesome. All right, well, I'm not going to take too much of your time. I know you got more to show, but thank you so much for bringing your game.
No, thank you for coming back over. No, I know we would really appreciate you.
So nice to meet you. Thank you.
And that's Alex from Nintendo World Report.
This video was made possible by our generous supporters on Patreon. Did you know that Nintendo World Report is funded directly by fans like you? When you support Nintendo World Report on Patreon, you get immediate access to multiple exclusive podcasts every month, exclusive Discord channels, an early look at select content, and more, all for as little as $1 a month. Check out patreon.com/NWR for all the details.